one of the proud promises of the civilized world has always been law, order, peace, and discipline, have long formed the basis on which countries were classified as first world or third world.
People in the West are a little bit tired from the decades of peace, democracy, wealth, and freedom. It is for themselves a little bit boring.
Administrative justice in Ukraine is a sphere in which the resilience of the rule of law is tested on a daily basis.
The Supreme Court of Sri Lanka found the former executive of this country liable for breach of constitutional duties. Rule of law has been advanced in its full plenitude in Sri Lanka.
Even the highest office be subjected to constitutional scrutiny.
We are judges, we are not political actors, and our duty is to protect the rights and the law under the Constitution.
Across Europe and indeed globally, narratives questioning the legitimacy of courts have intensified. The chilling effect of this type of action against the judges is a red line not to be crossed.
In Hungary, judges are not allowed to express political views.
Why is defiance of the rule of law gaining political appeal across the world?
Rest assured that the judiciary holds the final move.
We can uphold the rule of law only to a limited extent by our judgments and opinions, but we do not have means to enforce them.
Politicians must not interfere with the substance of judicial decision, but the organization and financing of the courts is a democratic issue too.
For one, never ever give up.
We simply need an openness to listen.
Thanks to Global South Network, which allow us to believe in a better world of the rule of law.
It's a wonderful initiative.
The Global South Network opened new horizons for judicial cooperations.
Global South Network provide a platform for meaningful dialogue and cooperation, fostering efforts to build a more equitable and resilient legal landscape.
GSN Network continues to expand areas of activity, further strengthening its impact and reach.
The universal concept of justice compels us to join our efforts, and this is the forum for promoting the same goal.
Well deserved for the hectic activity you have made. I am astonished, I am amazed, I was impressed.
May I at the outset commend you, Dr. Reayat, for the immense work that you're doing in the GSN. The Global South Network is a much admired initiative.
It's commendable. South Network focuses on all disciplines and regions, creating a bridge between academia, civil society, legal community, etc.
Now allow me to invite our next discussant, the Honourable Justice Aigars Strupišs, President of the Supreme Court of Latvia.
Professor Reayat, distinguished colleagues, thank you for inviting me in this event, especially on such an important and acute topic. The decline in rule of law should never be ignored. And today, it's even impossible to ignore it as the signs of decline are multiplying. And the keynote speaker has already shown us worrying facts about it, and we all know about those facts. Well, I hate being a pessimist. However, what bothers me the most is that today's world seems to be moving towards authoritarianism in general. And what worries me even more is that the erosion of the rule of law is not the problem itself. It's just a symptom of something broader. It's the erosion of democratic culture. We all see that civilized debate is more and more being replaced by shouting matches where arguments are substituted by ad hominem attacks. Polarization and political tribalism seem to be normal methods and goals of today's politicians, and public discourse is becoming even less reliable. And this is particularly dangerous since even media outlets that were once considered highly reputable are no longer immune to polarization. And all it goes hand in hand with declining public trust in the state institutions in general. There have always been philosophical theories about ways of social development, and one that catches attention today, watching all these events and knowing a bit of history, is the so-called cyclical theory of history, be it Plato, Spengler, Toynbee, Turchin, etc. Notwithstanding all the shortcomings of the theory, the general idea seems to be quite plausible, as uncomfortable as it may sound, that every social order eventually produces conditions that undermine it. With a little bit of simplification, the cycle most often quoted is tyranny, monarchy, democracy, anarchy, tyranny again, and it starts all over again. Perhaps the most dangerous and faulty assumption is that democracy and the rule of law are permanent achievements, but history suggests otherwise. It all starts with small things. It's almost never a big thing coming. It starts with some small things, a sign of corporativism here, a little leeway for our own there, withholding a legitimate objection just to keep the comfortable peace by not annoying or offending anyone, etc. And as much as I hate to be a pessimist, I hate it even more to be a naive daydreamer. I do recognize that, unfortunately, our capacity as judges regarding this is rather limited. We can uphold the rule of law while holding the office, which, however safe it may be, it differs from country to country, is not entirely under our control. And we can uphold the rule of law only to a limited extent by our judgments and opinions, but we do not have means to enforce them. And those are our natural limitations. Therefore, I doubt that we, with our limited arsenal, can prevent the worst, should it come. But we can hold the line, hoping that the transitionary period will be short enough to recover with minimum losses. As ancient Romans said, si vis pacem para bellum. So we have to be prepared for the worst. So we in Latvia, we recognize it, and we are already preparing for the worst. Should the populists win in the next elections, or should any other problems regarding the rule of law should come. And we are doing this through initiating and carrying out legal reforms, strengthening the judiciary, the status of the Judicial Council. We are trying to reduce, and quite successfully, the role of the Ministry of Justice in administering the courts. We are also educating general public, giving lectures at schools, etc. In other words, we are building resilience required to bring the democracy back if necessary. We are also actively communicating with public, trying to raise the level of transparency of the courts, weeding out judicial corporativism, and promoting the ideas of justice, rule of law, and democracy. And it shows, while public trust in many institutions has declined, trust in the courts has risen from about 38% to 49% in the last 5 years. During the last 5 years, to about 12% increase. So it seems that we are likely doing something right, at least something. What I'm trying to say, in essence, perhaps the task of courts in difficult times is not to save democracy alone. That would probably be unrealistic, but we can do a lot if should it start, because the courts are the most stable. They are not directly subordinated to political processes. So in the conclusion, I would define our task to be simpler and harder at the same time. We, during those turmoil times, we have to preserve the principles of the rule of law long enough for democratic societies to rediscover their value. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honourable Justice Aigars, Strupišs, President of the Supreme Court of Latvia, for delivering your response to Justice Kuusiniemi's lecture.